Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel, and it is finally time for WrestleMania once again. We are going to try and predict for the third year in a row. We're going to go through all matches on both nights and predict who will walk out as champions, who will walk out as victors from Las Vegas. It's been a weird one, this WrestleMania build. It felt like that this could have been one of the greatest WrestleManias ever in terms of what the projected card was going to be. And what we've turned out with is certainly something. I'm not going to be somebody that judges a card before it happens. It doesn't look as good as it could have been in terms of the matches we could have got, but obviously there are reasons for that. Injuries, you know, the things going on with The Rock, that kind of thing. It looks good with what they've got. So let's go through it, and we're going to kick things off. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Hope you all have a wonderful time. There's nothing like WrestleMania, is it? Let's get into it. We kick things off as the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther defends against the Royal Rumble winner Jey Uso. Now let's talk about this. If you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen I am not the biggest fan of Jey Uso. I think that for somebody that has been put in this position, I think his matches have been very, very lackluster for the spot he's going to be in. And this feud we have seen a number of times, and all three times the matches have not been very good. And you can see from his other matches, that isn't on Gunther. I think the promo that Jey cut last week, the week after Gunther killed Jimmy, I thought was fantastic. To the point where I was rooting for Jey to win. I think the promo this Monday on Raw was a bit of a step backwards, given he was playing up to the Yeet thing. But I really don't know with this one. I'm going to say that Jey wins, because I can't see a world in which they'd have put this much into Jey only to have him lose. But at the same time, I would feel really bad for Gunther, because his reign has been so mediocre when he really should have been feuding with people like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and they've given him Damian Priest, 2025 Finn Balor, and Jey Uso. Like, I do have some sympathy for him. But I think his reign will end at WrestleMania, and I think Jey Uso becomes World Heavyweight Champion. The newly heel Naomi goes one-on-one with Jade Cargill. Now, this has been one of the best built matches for WrestleMania this year. And for me, it is really difficult to predict, because most people will say, you know, Jade was murdered by Naomi in November with the car thing. She should really win. And I could agree with that. But at the same time, could you not say she got her revenge by taking her out of the Elimination Chamber? So they're kind of one-on-one now. I really don't know. Naomi has been on fire with these heel promos, as we thought she would be. I think the match will be pretty decent. I mean, it will just be really Naomi bumping around for Jade. Then either Jade wins or Naomi gets, you know, a heel victory. In terms of who I'm going to go for, I'm going to say Naomi wins, because I think Naomi deserves it. And it is great to see a women's match on the card that isn't for a title. I think that's the first time in WrestleMania history in an actual serious match that's happened. So that's great, and it should happen again next year and every year from now on. And Jade and Naomi have earned it, so it should be fun. But I'm going to go for Naomi. The War Raiders defend the World Tag Team Championships against the New Day. Now this I'm going to get over and done with quickly, because I simply do not care about the storyline. I think the New Day in 2025 are absolutely terrible, and I don't know, I really don't care. I mean, how these tag team titles are on the card and the ones on SmackDown or not is a bit funny. But yeah, I mean, I could see Big E costing New Day, but I'm going to say New Day win. Rey Mysterio goes one-on-one with El Grande Americano. Now, I know people in the IWC have hated this because of the fact that they have done certain things with El Grande Americano. I'm going to say, I think this storyline has been funny as shit. I've loved it. And it is great to see Rey Mysterio take on an up-and-coming luchador in El Grande Americano. I'm going to say that Rey wins. I think he kind of has to. And then I think they probably will unmask it to be Chad Gable. But I'm genuinely 50-50 on whether it's Chad Gable or not, because sometimes he does look like him, and sometimes he moves completely differently to him. But I'm going to say that Mysterio wins, and then they are going to unmask him, and it will be Chad Gable. But Rey Mysterio will win. The megastar LA Knight defends his United States Championship against the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu. I'm going to say Jacob wins here. I feel like this is a fairly simple one to predict. This isn't what I thought Jacob would be doing at WrestleMania at any point, but Jacob Fatu holding a championship is something I can majorly get behind. LA Knight will probably move up into the world title scene, as he should, because LA Knight is fantastic and he should win a world championship in the future. But I think Jacob will probably kill him, and then it will set up at SummerSlam, Jacob versus Solo. But yeah, Jacob's going to win, and I actually think the match will be quite good. But yeah, Jacob will win. The 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner Charlotte Flair takes on WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. Now this has picked up the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? After that promo segment where Charlotte went at Ludwig Kaiser and then Tiffany went at Andrade and the divorces, I'm really interested to see what actually happens here. As a big Tiffany Stratton fan and as a non-fan of Charlotte, I am terrified that Tiffany is going to lose, because she shouldn't, because this is a new generation versus old generation match. Charlotte does not need another world championship. Tiffany absolutely has to win. But this is a predictions game. This isn't me saying what I want to happen. I'm going to say that Charlotte wins, because this company it's always 5 steps forward, 6 backwards. So it would be a huge step forward to have Charlotte lose to Tiffany, but she's not going to. So Charlotte will beat Tiffany. I'm convinced of it. Charlotte will be a 15-time champion, and Tiffany, fuck knows what they do with her, but Charlotte's going to win. And then in the main event of night 1, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and the OTC, the original Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, do battle in a triple threat match in what is essentially now just a custody of Paul Heyman match. Of course, Paul Heyman will be in CM Punk's corner instead of Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns is my favourite wrestler, but Roman Reigns should absolutely not win this match. If anything, Roman should get pinned here, because this was a great point I saw that somebody made on Twitter. Even though he's a babyface now, he's still a prick. Like, his character has not changed one bit. He's still a narcissist. And I think that there needs to be some character development here of where he starts to rebuild himself. You know, he's rebuilt the original bloodline. He's built up a level of respect with Cody. He needs to actually suffer. And I think for the first time in a long time, Roman needs to go it alone. And I love the Roman and Paul Heyman relationship. It's been fantastic on and off screen. But for the evolution of Roman, I think WrestleMania is going to be where that relationship comes to an end. And I think this will set up Punk versus Roman at SummerSlam, you know, with Heyman in the middle there again. In terms of who I think is going to win, I'm going to go for Seth Rollins here, because I think Rollins needs it far more than Punk and Reigns does. And Rollins the entire time has sort of been warning Roman about Punk and then warning Punk about Roman. And they've been too focused on each other because they're focused on Heyman. So I think Rollins will just slide in and get the win. It makes the most sense to me. Whether Heyman will side with Rollins, I hope not, because I don't see that being a partnership that is A, needed, or B, going to work. Not that those two couldn't work together. I just don't see a way in which they fit with each other. But I don't know. But I'm going to say that Rollins gets the win. I think he needs it out of the 3 more than anyone. And I think Rollins will pin Reigns, as that can get Reigns even more wound up about the whole Rollins and Shield thing. Gives Rollins a big win over Roman. Rollins to win. And now we head into night 2, where the YouTube bastard Logan Paul takes on the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. This match is going to be phenomenal. Why is this match happening? We don't know, and the reason we don't know is because Logan Paul does not want to turn up to work. So, Karrion Kross has essentially been used to build this match between AJ and Logan, and he's done a fantastic job because, well, he's Karrion Kross. Of course he did a fantastic job. I'm going to say AJ Styles wins, because I cannot bear the sight of seeing that absolute arsehole pin AJ Styles, one of the greatest wrestlers to have ever lived. And I think at this point, the novelty of Logan Paul, on me especially, and some of the other people I see online, has worn off to the point where his weaknesses are very much highlighted, like the promo segment where Logan challenged AJ to a match at WrestleMania. There was so much awkward silence there, it almost felt like Logan didn't really know what he was doing, to the point where I'm just thinking, just stick a manager with him. Who could that manager be? I don't know, but just stick somebody with him that can kind of teach him the ropes, the match will be fantastic because AJ and Logan have done a bit of work together around SummerSlam 2022. So they are perfect for each other in terms of the styles. But AJ absolutely needs to get the win. He's been so weird the past 6 years compared to his first 3 years in the company, and I think he should be built up to become world champion at Clash in Paris. So AJ Styles to win. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend the Women's Tag Team Championships against the Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. I'm going to take Liv and Raquel to retain here because I think this match just screams that it was going to be Liv and Raquel versus Becky and Lyra, but then Becky didn't want to do it, or Becky backed out, so now just Bayley's in this position. It goes to a real state of the women's tag division of the one actual tag team that would have made sense for Liv and Raquel to face, that being Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. They just decided not to do anything with. It seems like they were building it, and then it seemed to be a last-minute decision, either when Becky backed out or whatever. But I'm going to take Liv and Raquel here because, well, Bayley and Lyra don't need the titles. Bayley versus Lyra versus Roxanne should have been a women's match for the IC title, and it should have been Alexa and Nikki versus Liv and Raquel. But this card has gone the way it has, and Liv and Raquel are going to retain. Now, in a match that technically hasn't been announced yet, but the reports are saying will still be happening, Randy Orton will be having an open challenge for a WrestleMania match. Now, obviously, his match was meant to be against Kevin Owens, but Owens, obviously, of course, went out with his neck surgery. Prayers to Kevin Owens, phenomenal talent, and I really hope that that was not his last match. I cannot bear to think that it was. I was so looking forward to Owens versus Orton at Mania. Sadly, it isn't happening. Best wishes to Kevin Owens. Health and prayers to you. In terms of who Orton is going to face, to me there's 3 main candidates, and 2 I'm alright with seeing and 1 I'm not. The one I'm not seeing is Solo Sikoa, because I just don't think Solo is that great. I think he's decent. I think he was at his prime in NXT. I think him being the Tribal Chief was kind of fun, but then it was a little bit weird, and now the way they've booked him in 2025 is a bit weird. But Solo versus Randy is not a Mania match. Solo not being on the card is kind of incredible, given he main evented SummerSlam. Like, it's kind of incredible as to how ash you have to be to not even make it on the Mania card. So we're going to say it's not Solo. And then the 2 most likely, I think, are Nick Aldis, given Randy's RKO'd him twice, and Aldis was livid last week. And who my prediction is going to be, which you're probably not surprised given the reports we've seen on Twitter, I think Randy's opponent is going to be the returning Rusev. Rusev, of course, or Miro, was released by AEW in February, and it seems he's on his way back to WWE. Even Big E has confirmed it. I think Rusev will answer Randy Orton's challenge, a bit like Cody did against Seth. But I think Randy is going to win, because Randy needs a pay-per-view win. His last pay-per-view win was 4 years ago in a singles match. He really needs that win, especially if he's going to be in the main event of Backlash in St. Louis next month for the WWE Championship. He needs it. So I'm going to say that Randy wins. In a Sin City street fight, Drew McIntyre will take on Damian Priest. Again, this has been a really well-built match between these two. There's obviously lots of history in the past year to go off of. I'm going to go for Drew McIntyre because I think he needs a big win on pay-per-view. Damian can afford a loss, especially if Drew does something dastardly to him. McIntyre really needs this win. He should be pushing towards the main event scene. So I think Drew wins in what should be a really, really fun match. In a fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship, Penta will take on the reigning champion Bron Breakker, Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. This is a really unpredictable one because I feel like all 4 could really win this. In terms of who I think is going to win, I'm going to go for Penta to win the IC title. I think Penta has been really, really good since he debuted. He's got extremely over with the crowd, and I think putting in a nice mid-card title on him might be a nice way to reward that. In terms of who I want to win, I'd love to see Bron retain, because I think Bron is just an incredible talent. That spear on Carlito last week was incredible. I'd love to see Bron win. I think Balor and Dom will probably end up costing each other, or Dom will pin Balor to win. Nothing like Finn Balor to get pinned. Penta will obviously pin Finn Balor. Whoever's winning this is pinning Finn Balor. I think it will probably lead to Finn and JD versus probably Dom and somebody else, or Liv and Dom versus Finn and I really don't know. but they need to split up Judgment Day. Again, this just kind of feels like a Judgment Day were meant to face Wyatt Six. Wyatt Six, for some reason, are not part of Mania, as we know of yet, and they just decided to add these two into the match to get them on the card. But I'm going to say that Penta wins the title, and he can take that through the summer, maybe even have a match with Rey Fenix, teasing a reunion. Braun can move up to the world title scene. But yeah, Penta will walk out of Allegiant Stadium as Intercontinental Champion. In a triple threat for the Women's World Championship, Io Sky defends against Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. I'm going to take Io Sky for this one. I do feel like this is quite an obvious pick, I would hope. I'm a big fan of all three of these, and I know people are going to say Bianca should win to keep her WrestleMania streak going, but they can almost change that to where Io pins Rhea again, and Bianca can say nobody's ever pinned me at WrestleMania, because she has actually lost at WrestleMania in a Battle Royal at WrestleMania 34, so she has lost, she's just never been pinned. So I'm going to say that Io retains. I think Io has to retain here, because Bianca and Rhea have spent so much time focusing on each other, that if Io loses the title, then she's going to look like a bit of a joke. And I think Bianca and Rhea have spent so much time focusing on each other that can be the story of the match, that Io is sort of being underwhelmed by Bianca and Rhea, and they are underestimating her, and she can take that kind of ego-driven challenge by Bianca and Rhea to end up sneaking a win. Bianca and Rhea can go on to main event night 1 of SummerSlam, and Io can go on to taking the title on to better things, but I'm going to say that Io Sky retains. And then in the main event, to me, what is the most unpredictable match in a long, long time. The defending champion, Cody Rhodes, battles John Cena, the newly heel John Cena. I really, really don't know who's going to win this. I think Cody's reign has been fantastic. I've loved it. That video package they did with the Shibuya song Last of My Kind, I thought was an absolutely phenomenal tribute for him. Whether that means that is a tribute because he's losing the title and he's taking a well-deserved break, I don't know. I really can't call this one. Will The Rock get involved? Will Stone Cold Steve Austin get involved? I'm going to say they do. But I'm going to say this year the bad guys win. Similarly to last year where we saw a load of people get involved. However, Cody won, the babyface won. I think Team Heel win here. And as much as I would love to see Cody Rhodes retain the title, and I would love to see Cena win the championship as a babyface, I personally would do it in his last match. Have maybe Punk or someone face him at SummerSlam, and that turns him face again, and then he goes into the final match in December as a babyface trying to win his 17th championship, and he does. But I'm going to say that John Cena beats Cody Rhodes to become the undisputed WWE champion with the help of The Rock. It's such an unpredictable one, and I do want Cody to retain over Cena winning the title, but I'm going to say that Cody is not going to overcome this one, and I think John Cena will beat Cody Rhodes to win a record-breaking 17th World Championship. But as always, they were just my predictions. Let me know yours down in the comments section below. I hope you all have a wonderful time watching it. Like I said in the intro, there's nothing like WrestleMania. Whether the card has been good or bad, whether the build has been good or bad, you're still going to be hyped up for it, and just the feel to this show feels huge. So I hope you all have a great time watching it. I will be live tweeting the show over on Twitter or X Saturday and Sunday, so make sure to follow me there at Drift Lewis if you want to hear my live thoughts. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy WrestleMania.
Let me tell you, wanna see you fly, way up on my side, till the day I die, we're heading for the silver line. Let me tell you, wanna see you move, cause there's room for two, every day, every night, we turn up to 9-9.